we'll be talking about the three ways that your ego is sabotaging your career. Oh, we got London. Good morning, guys. Yes, all over this morning, all over. Well, I do hope that you guys did not come in the this live stream with your feelings on your shoulders. For anybody who does not know me, my name is Alicia Perkins, and I am a coach that helps people get unstuck in their careers, and I help them to increase their impact. Hey, good morning. Good morning from Miami. Good morning, y'all. So happy to have you guys on this morning. If you guys see me kind of going this way and this way, I am streaming from two different places this morning. And again, forgive me, I have all of my allergies, y'all. Whew, good morning. Oh, Houston. Oh, you're actually not that far from me. Got Louisiana in the house. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dive in, guys. Just remember that I do stream on Tuesdays at 7:15 Central Standard Time. And so this is something that I usually do every week. For the past couple of weeks, my schedule has been a little hectic, but I usually do stream every Tuesday at 7:15 Central Standard Time. Please remember that this live stream is going to be saved on my channel on YouTube, but I am Alicia Perkins. And so if you guys have not had the opportunity, please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe so you can kind of stay up to date with all of the live streams that I do. Also, so before I get started, right, I definitely want to know what made you guys want to hop on this this certain this certain live stream, like because this title is not your average live stream, right? And so I definitely want to know what made you guys hop on this live stream. Let me go ahead and put my phone on do not disturb. So I kind of have an idea, right? Good morning, y'all still coming. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Ooh, we got Wisconsin in the building. Good morning, good morning. So, and also, if you guys have not yet, are not yet connected with me on LinkedIn, go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and like dive in, right? So, I really want to talk about this topic because I see it happening a lot, right? The majority of the clients that I work with, right, they are like either in that mid range on their way to senior roles, or they are already in those lead roles and they are wanting to advance, right? And so they kind of get to a point to where they know that they want more, right? But they feel stuck. They feel like there's something that is holding them back. Somebody said I'm hopping on because I might have an ego problem. First of all, let me say this, that it takes a certain level of growth to even admit that. So that is an amazing thing. And so with a lot of my clients, right, when they come to me, they're like, I feel like I'm stuck, right? I feel like I'm not able to get to that point in my career that I desire. And, a lot of times they feel like it may be some kind of skill gap there, right? Or there's something that needs to be fixed as far as those outside things. And sometimes it may need to be a few tweaks, but I've come to know that a majority of the times when it comes to somebody that's wanting to advance in their career, and they feel stuck, or they feel like they have reached a point and they can't get past that point, that is some kind of growth gap there, right? There's some kind of development skill or trait that is not there that should be. And so I really wanted to share this with you guys, because I feel like this is really going to be able to help you to kind of figure out what is causing you to actually be stuck, right? And I really want to go into this. So when you hear about the word ego, what people tend to think is that if you have an issue with this, that this automatically makes you mean, right? And I want to say that you may have a big ego, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are mean or rude. And I think that's why a lot of people may not think that they have the problem, because they like, I have friends, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really get into a lot of fights with people and things of that sort. But you'll be surprised when we're talking about having a big ego, how that shows up and what that actually looks like. And if you guys know I got my notes, I got this thing on track. So, even the word ego, it's really about how do you push yourself, talks about what is that belief in yourself that you have. And so, it will not show up when everything is good, right? It won't show up when things in life or on your job is going good, right? Or when you have the most control. That is not when it shows up, right? When we're talking about having a big ego, it shows up in the moments of you being challenged, right? In the moments when things are not quite going the way that you think that they should go. So do not deceive yourself, friend, thinking that I don't think this is me, right? Because it's not something that kind of like shows its head all the time, but it definitely comes in those moments of confrontation. Right. So I want you guys to really start thinking about, right, in those moments at work, and this is really advice, guys, that you guys can apply to any area of your life. It can be your job, it could be with your spouse, it could be with your kids, right? Because we're talking about you having a problem with that is not something that just happens at work. Because if you have a problem with this at work, 99% of the time, this is actually a problem at home, and it does affect the relationships that you have. And so, you know, um, it really shows its big ugly head when you're having to be in moments where maybe things are not going the way that you think that they should, right? And so when you're talking about having a big ego, it's the opposite of self-esteem, right? Or I'll say it's the ugly side of it, because most people that have a big ego, they appear very confident, right? And trust me, y'all, I can talk about this topic so well because I used to be there, right? But it definitely took a lot of self-work. And I thank God for just changing my heart and my mind about things. But people would always think I was so confident, right? They thought that, man, like she's always so sure of herself. But people that suffer with this, guys, it's actually the opposite. I see somebody says, I actually don't know if I have a problem with my ego. So I'm here to find out if I do. Yes, I love hearing that. So, people appear like they're just so sure, but it's actually the exact opposite, right? People that have a problem with their ego are very insecure, right? They are filled with self doubt. They are always, and the reason why them having a big ego is such a big thing is because they really operate out of a place of self-doubt, right? And so you use your ego as a source of protection, right? And that's why it can damage your career, because instead of your expertise showing up, your ego shows up. Okay, and I'll say that again. Instead of your expertise is the one that shines through, it's your ego that shines through. And so here you go, you have these people that have an amazing skill set, right, that have brought forth great results, right, but their ego has overshadowed their expertise. And so that's when you find yourself saying stuff like, I just don't get it, right? I can do this, I can do that. I've been here this X, Y, and Z years. Why am I not able to advance the way that I feel like I should, right? So we definitely want to look back and ask yourself, is the way I'm showing up at work, is that being affected by my ego? Is that being affected by the belief that I have of myself? Is that being affected by what I believe everybody else believes about me? Right. You guys know I am a career coach, but I put a lot of stress on personal development, right? Because I really believe that overall success in life does depend on your growth. And so I do talk a lot of things about having a great career and job search things as well. But also, a lot of the content that I put out is going to talk about self development. So, like I said, the ego, people with big egos tend to look like they're very confident or very sure. If what I'm saying is already kind of throwing up some red flags, right? Also, when you have to think about this, somebody that operates out of a really big ego, if you are in a leadership role, right, it hurts you the worst. Now, of course, having a big ego can hurt anybody. But as far as the aspect of you operating your whole career in your job, people that are in lead roles, or if you are wanting to get into lead roles, this is going to destroy your career. Because when you're talking about having a big ego, having the power, right, means more than you winning your people over, right? It's all about power, because that is what you feed off of, because you are very insecure. You are really not sure in what it is that you have. And so it's not even about, do they think I'm a good guy, right? It's more about they just have to know that it's all me, right? And so when you start to move away from that mindset, right, this is what causes you to have good relationships at work. Because I'll tell you this, a lot of people don't want to learn people skills, but when you have a job, right, it's about relationships. 80% of your job, especially in leadership roles, is how you deal with other people, right? So it doesn't matter how great your skill set is and how well you work with everybody else. If your people skills is not where it should be, you won't advance, right? And so what tends to happen is, because don't get me wrong, right? They will use your skill set to a certain extent, right? Because your skill set does solve a problem for them, right? But when you start looking at, I want to advance, or I want to be able to increase the actual impact I make here, that is going to involve you being able to get along with people and know how to deal with people, right? So it's not only about having a skill set, it's not only about having a certain expertise, but it needs to also be about how do I work with other people, and how do I deal with other people? And if you don't deal well with yourself, you can't deal well with other people. Ooh, 1 second. Excuse me, 1 second. Right. And so I want you guys to understand that if you cannot deal with yourself, if you do not know how to navigate yourself, right? If you do not know how to lead yourself, how can you lead other people? It's not going to happen. And right. And so if you are already in those lead roles, if you are already even wanting to what's the word, position yourself, excuse me, for lead roles, you're going to have to know how to first lead yourself. And so if you don't even know how to lead your emotions, and not make everything so emotional, not even base decisions only on how you feel, right, then you cannot really effectively manage other people, right? And guys, this having a big ego tends to hurt high performers, top performers. This kind of gets us the most, right? And I say us, right? Because we are in this self-growth, right? This path of self-growth. We're all on it, or we should all be on it, right? And so when I say high performers, meaning that you thrive off of being able to like do your best, right? Guess what? There's nothing wrong with that, but it tends to hurt us the most, because now when you bring forth such great results, right, you can make everything about the results you bring forth, and not about everybody else around you, or even not about what the focus should be on, because it just has to always be about you, right? Now, let me say this. It is good that we all take pride in our work and what we do. So I'm not saying that there should not be a level of pride there, because I definitely believe that it should be. But what I am saying is that there's a difference between having a big ego and having pride in something. When you have a big ego, it's all about you, right? You could care less how everybody else is affected. You don't care about that, right? All you care about is you, right? But when you're talking about pride, you're talking about what I do brings a level of satisfaction. So that's two different things. And you can't really work on any job effectively and it only be about you. I mean, you really can't even own your own thing and it just be about you. All right, so I want to go into now, and guys, remember if you have any questions, but I definitely want to go into now is, how does this show up at work, or how does this big ego show up in you and the problems that it actually causes? So, for number one, It makes you stay in environments that you should have left a long time ago. And this is like a two-part, right? And it also does the opposite. It makes you leave environments that you should stay in. So, the first point or the first way that having a big ego will sabotage your career is, for one, it makes you stay in environments that you shouldn't be in. But on the flip side, it causes you to leave environments that you should stay in. So, let's go ahead and deep dive into that first part. So, it makes you stay in places that stopped serving you a long time ago, because people with big egos, we have this hero mode that we get in, right? That, oh, I can fix it, right? I know how to fix it. I can solve it. But what makes it a bad thing, and what makes it about, how can I put it? It's like what makes it come out of a place that's not you trying to serve, but it causes you to want to save, right? And because it sounds like a good thing, right? But you only want to do it because it's about you. Meaning that, man, if I can't fix this thing, right, then that says something about me. That says that I have failed. That's not true. Especially, I tell people all the time, you cannot change your company unless you're like the CEO or the one at the top, right? But people with big egos will stay in a career or a job longer than they should, because they feel like, I can fix this. I can make this work the way that I feel like it should, right? And so this is how you find yourself being overworked. This is how you find yourself having conversations that lead to just dead ends, right? Because now, like, no, I have to prove this to myself. I have to prove this to the people around me, because if I leave, then that says that I failed, right? And like, where did you get that from? Where did this, if I decide that I want to change jobs, or if I want to change the actual career that I'm in, who told you that that means that you failed, right? But that's what happens when you have ego, right? You're like, no, like, I failed. But no, you didn't fail. You outgrew it, right? And guess what? That's okay. And sometimes you don't just outgrow something. Sometimes the environment that you are in, the the place that you spend 8-9 hours a day no longer aligns with the values that you have. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? So I don't want you guys thinking that if you have to make a career move or change, or just change who you work for, that doesn't mean that you failed, right? But when you have a big ego and it's all about you, that's how it'll make you feel. Now, on the flip side of this, right, it can make you leave places that you need to stay in, because I will say this: you can't outrun you. Ooh, hold on. You can't outrun you. And what I mean by that, it doesn't matter how many jobs you get, you're still going to have to deal with you at every job. You can't outrun yourself. You cannot outrun the areas that you need to grow in, right? And so if you keep thinking, I'm going to leave this place because I don't like it here. Anytime I have a client who works with me and like, it's time to go. Oh, we're going to deep dive. Okay, what's the problem? What's going on? Right? What are the actual struggles? Because I want to make sure that you're not outrunning opportunities to grow. Now, I get it. There are some places that are toxic. There are some places that will take a toll on your mind, on your body. You walk in here, you like, I'm grieved 8 to 10 hours a day. Right. I get it, right? And that does sometimes happen. But I want you to start thinking about, is it time to move on to the next level in my career? Or is it time to stay so I can go to the next level of growth? Now, I'm going to say that again. When you're wanting to make a career move and you feel that itch that you want to do something else, ask yourself this: is it time to go to the next level in my career? Like, it's time to go? Or is it time to stay so I can go to the next level in my growth? Right. And so you got to start thinking about, is what's happening to me at work? Am I feeling challenged by this? Right. And people don't do this. They focus too much on what they feel, and they don't focus enough on what's the problem. Why do I feel the way that I feel? Right? Because once you can get really clear on why you feel the way that you feel, now you can start to make a true change. But what happens is that you guys treat new jobs as band-aids, right? Meaning that something happened at work, I don't want to be here no more, right? I'm done, I'm out, and you get a new job and you put a band-aid on a wound that has never healed, right? So when you keep putting a band-aid on something that has never healed, what do you think happens? It gets worse. So you keep hopping from job to job to job to job to job, never really wanting to confront what the issue is. No, it's not my boss. It wasn't the people that I work with, right? It's my lack of I don't want to grow. I don't want to get past this, right? So you tend to keep treating these jobs like band-aids, and then you wonder why. Why am I not fulfilled? Why do I keep on feeling this way? Well, that's because you never want to address the elephant in the room, right? And that's you. And guess what, guys? I can't even tell you the amount of self-work, the amount of prayer, the amount of fasting I've had to do, the amount of being in God's word. I don't know if you guys have a relationship with the Lord, or what your religious beliefs are, but I'm talking about me. I can't even tell you the amount of self-work I've had to done and still do on myself. But I was not able to experience a level of fulfillment in my business, in my marriage, in my life, with my child. I was not able to get to a level of fulfillment until I started to realize the problem is me. The problem is, Alicia, you always have to be the one in control. The problem is you don't know how to deal with change. The problem is that, Alicia, you don't want to hear anybody else's opinion in life. The problem is, Alicia, because you feel like in your career you've reached this certain height of success, that now when it comes to the relationship with your husband, you feel like you know everything. And yes, this is cutting. I know. Oh, but it don't it hurt so good, right? Don't it hurt so good? Like, sometimes in church, when I'm in church and I'm hearing the word, I'm like, ow, it hurts. But it's like a level of relief because now I know what's wrong. And when you know what's wrong, now you have the opportunity to fix it, right? And so, I've had to do this and I still do it, right? Because we want to be able to operate in our best selves, and that comes with growth. With growth. And that's why, y'all, I've been in business full time for almost 3 years now. And my main focus used to be just helping people get a job, helping people with their next move. But over the last probably like year almost, I have really got into the career and personal development side, because I don't want to just help you get a job. I want to help set you up for success. I want to help set you up for fulfillment, right? And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I do have an emphasis on helping people with their next move. But it got to be much more than you just getting a better job. It has to be about you becoming a better you, right? And that is what is going to really change the game, not just in your career, but also in your life. So point number one, like I was saying, it makes you stay in environments way too long, because now you get this mindset of, I have to fix everything, because if it doesn't get fixed, then it's my fault and it makes me look bad, right? And then the other way, it causes you to always want to jump from job to job, because you don't want to be able to get the growth where you need it. Point two, or point number two of how your ego sabotages your career, is it keeps you off focused, right? because now the focus is not just your goals, right? Or the plan I have for my life, but now the focus is on how I feel in this moment, right? Because let me tell you this, when you have a big ego, your ego is only going to serve you. It only wants to be served in that moment. It only cares about what it needs and feels in that moment, right? And so when we talk about having an ego, it hurts you. It keeps you off focus, and it keeps you from what you said that you want. Every time your ego is self-serving. So though you like, you know what I really want to do is find a great job where I'm able to provide for my family and do things X, Y, and Z. But once that ego is offended or it doesn't get what it wants, it'll cause you to quit a job just out the blue. You don't even give it any thought, right? You don't even try to see, okay, what part did I play? Is there any part in this, right, that I'm wrong? And so it keeps you in a place to where, wait a minute, I'm not able to get what I say that I want. But that's because the the actions that you bring forth doesn't align with the goals that you say that you want, right? So having a big ego, guys, is going to keep you off focus. It'll keep you from what you said that you want, right? Your ego doesn't care about you growing. It doesn't care about you growing. Your ego only cares about how it can be fed. And even also with this, it keeps you off focus because it keeps you operating in the spirit of competition at work and not collaboration. I'll say it again. When you have an ego, it keeps you operating in a spirit of competition at work and not collaboration. Because I'm about to say something that a lot of people is not going to agree with. Okay. There might be people on your job that may not have the personality. I'm gonna say that. They might not have the personality that aligns with one that you would prefer, right? Because some people sometimes are a little bit harder to work with. That's just the reality, right? But at the end of the day, you guys work for the same company, right? Again, this is not to say that everybody is always going to be right. I'm not saying that. Trust me, I was in HR for over 10 years. I know the whole corporate thing. I get it. Right. But at the end of the day, you guys are on the same team, right? You work for the same side. And so there should be a level of collaboration there, right? Because you guys should be wanting to work towards the same goal, right? So you showing up in this mode every day and feeling like you have to just compete with everybody, right? Again, kind of like what I said earlier, when you are feeling like I have to compete every day, that keeps you off of being able to operate in your expertise, because now your expertise is not the thing that's on your mind. Now the focus is I got to be better than everybody in the room. And now it's time for us to go back and think about, where did that come from? Why do you feel like you have to be better than everybody else? First of all, they hired you, so they saw something, right? And so this mode of feeling like I have to compete with everybody else, where did you get that from? Because that's going to lead you to being overworked, right? Because you feel like the more work they pile on, the more valuable that they see that I am, which is a lie. It is a lie, right? And so you cause yourself to be overworked. Guys, I'm going to take a quick break. I don't know why I'm so thirsty this morning. Let me know if this is like hitting some spots, if I'm giving you guys some insight, because I definitely want to know and make sure that I'm speaking to you guys and giving you information. What about when your job is to serve and you see stagnation and a lack of concern from your seniors and coworkers? We talk about the necessity of collaboration, but the structure remains. Yeah, see, and this kind of goes back to Miss Tracy, what I was saying earlier. First of all, you can't change them, really. You really can't. But what I want you to do, right, is start to really think about, have I had these conversations, right? Because you can't change, but you can have a conversation. Excuse me. So, you want to be able to think about, okay, I don't like what is happening, right? And it's the thing, when you want to talk about something, you have to be able to know, am I coming with a complaint? Right? You have to be able to know, am I coming with a complaint or am I coming with a concern and a solution? Right? Am I just coming with a complaint or am I coming with a concern and a solution? Because, you know, I do think that the employee should be able to address what's wrong, but what makes it even more helpful is if you come with a solution. And if you don't have a solution, because I do believe in acting your wage. Let me say it again. I believe in acting your wage. You should not be being paid mid-level pay to solve senior level roles. So I do get it, right? So I'm not saying to start to create all of these new policies and I'm not saying that. What I am saying is start to have those collaborative conversations, right? And you don't want to necessarily judge what it is you think that they feel, but you need to judge how receptive they are of that conversation, right? You know what I mean? So, again, if you see stagnation and you're not seeing the support from your team or the people above you as you should, start to really identify what is it that I need from them, right? Because I was just talking to a friend last night and she was saying that she had to do a one-on-one, with her boss. And she was saying that I just don't feel like I'm growing. And I was like, well, you're going to have to dig a little bit deeper, right? There's nothing wrong with you being able to say, hey, I don't feel like I'm experiencing the growth that I desire, but you also need to be able to tell them, what does that look like for you? Because it's hard to tell, or it's hard to help somebody when you don't know how to actually help them. And this is why I'm really big on, when you start to feel emotions or that itch, like I don't want to be here, or start to get clear on what is it that you need, right? Or what is it that you don't like? Because now when you start to actually address these problems, now you can go in and say, I need X, Y, and Z, rather than I'm feeling all these emotions. Here you go, you solve it for me. And that's not how it goes. Because especially if you're wanting to move into more elite roles, you need to be able to communicate effectively. And the only way that you can do that is when you learn to sit with your thoughts and your emotions for a while, and you don't have it in this mindset to always just to react rather than respond. So let me know if that helps. Okay. Negative. Miss Shar. Somebody said, you take. I know, I'm just so thirsty this morning. Y'all hilarious. Um, that's a good point. Have a solution. It's a balance between knowing your worth and checking your ego. Yes, it's a balance. It is a balance. Always, we deal with human beings. We're living with HIV. We're not making widgets. Oh, okay. That right. What happened to our goal? Exactly. Right. Again, even the people that you work with, they may like rub you the wrong way, or you may not even agree with the way that they think things out or whatever, but you guys still are on the same team. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit my last point. So, and another thing I want to add is that when you have a big ego, guys, you will focus on everybody else's wins, and you can't see anybody else in life winning, because that makes you feel like you are losing. Like, why don't let somebody else's successes make you feel like you've lost? Again, that ego will make it all about you. So if you do see somebody who win, or I know y'all see them on LinkedIn, I got the job, I got the job, I got the job. Some of y'all be like, no, friend, no. We will be happy about other people's accomplishments and successes, right? Because we know that our time is coming, right? And so don't let other people's success make you feel like there's something wrong with you. Because again, we got to get back to the root of that. Okay. And so it's my last point, guys. The third way that your ego it sabotages your career is that you don't hold yourself accountable. It's everybody else's fault, right? Where you are in your career, it's everybody else's fault. I don't have the raise I want, is their fault, even though you never asked for one, right? Or if you feel like your career is not going the way it should be, it's everybody else's fault, right? Or when you feel like I'm just so overworked and stressed out, even though you have not had any conversations with anybody at work about them helping you manage your workload. But nope, it's everybody else's fault, right? And so having that ego, it won't allow you to hold yourself accountable. And it takes you out of the driver's seat in your career, because you should be in the driver's seat at all times, right? Even if you might not like, Alicia, I'm not where I am, you're still in the driver's seat. I was just talking to one of my clients earlier this week, and she said, like, I feel like I'm not in control of my career. I feel like this last position, I didn't really think it through. I just kind of hopped in, and I just feel like I am not in control. I said, first of all, you are sitting on a call with me, getting the help that you need. You are in control, right? You get out of control when you see something is wrong, you don't do anything about it. That is when you have given up the control. Is when you see a problem and you do nothing about it, right? But even if there's so much stuff going on and it doesn't make sense and things are not going the way that you should, but you are actively pursuing a way out, you're still in control, right? And so I don't want you guys to think that just because things are going well, that's the only time that I am in control. No, when things are going all over the place and you have a hold on it, right? Or you are looking to get the solutions, you are in control, my friend, right? And when you don't want to hold yourself accountable, you hate confrontation. You hate confrontation, right? Not wanting to have those hard conversations, because if I first of all, these I don't like anybody not agreeing with me, right? But having hard conversations may cause you to have to expose things that you don't want to expose, or may have having hard conversations will put you in sometimes vulnerable situations. And that's just it happens sometimes, but you know what, that's okay. But when you have a big ego, it keeps you back, like I said before, from the growth that you need, right? So let's hop in really quickly so we can talk about how you are able to fix it, right? For one, start getting real feedback. You have to be able to surround yourself with people who is going to be honest with you, right? Who will tell you, friend, I don't think that was right, or how you said that ain't right, friend, right? And you need to be able to have conversations, especially with you guys in lead roles, with the people on your team, and ask them. Don't guess or assume how people perceive you. Ask them, like, how is it like having to work around me, right? And take the focus off of what it's like having to work with everybody else and start thinking, what is it like for people having to work with me? Oh, that's a level of self-awareness. You always complaining about how is it having to work with everybody else, but have you thought about what is it like working with me? Right? Getting to that point of holding yourself accountable, wanting to really know not just how great you are or how awesome, right? Because I think that people put a lot of emphasis on, I'm great at this. Well, no, let's talk about those weak areas or those gaps that need to be filled, right? And then also, you always want to be in a place of learning. It doesn't matter how much experience you have or anything, right? You want to be able to get to a place where you are always open to learning. It is not always about you learning something new, but sometimes you need to learn how to do it better, right? And not see feedback as a shot. Like, okay, no. Feedback, when it's done in the right way, because I trust me, everybody don't do feedback right either, right? But when feedback is done in the right way and it comes from a good place, right? It's only to make you better. And then we have to go back to, why is it that when somebody wants to help me or somebody wants to give me feedback, why do I feel threatened by that? Why does that make me feel small? Why does that make me feel like I'm doing wrong? Right? Again, you got to go to the root of it. Not just, I don't like that they said that to me. Let's talk about, why don't you like it? What emotion did that cause? Right? Because you always need to be in a place to where, you know what? I'm not always all that, right? There are some things in me that I could do better. All right, okay, guys. So let's do a quick recap. We was talking about 3 ways that your ego is sabotaging your career. It makes you stay in an environment that you have outgrown. It keeps you off focus. It will cause you to job hop. Ooh. And also, it'll cause you to not hold yourself accountable. Right. So I really hope that this live stream, guys, was able to give you guys some insight. If you are wanting to work with me one-to-one, I do have a 3-month group, can't even talk, not group, program. I'm on Blake. I'm sorry. That I work with you over the period of 3 months. And we do focus on career strategies, but we also focus on self-growth. That particular program is called Best Move. So if you are wanting to work with me one-to-one and really deep dive into not just what you want out of your career and how you are able to show up on your job more, but also how you are able to show up more for you, go ahead and you can either send me a DM here on LinkedIn, or you can go to my website, I am Alicia.com, to find out more information, work with me. Also, if you are not already in my email tribe, I want you guys to go ahead and get signed up to get exclusive content from me at careert.me, where I send out exclusive content and tips and things of that sort all throughout the week. You guys let me know if you have any questions in the box. No money feel like if you ask, you're taking away from our budget to serve patients. Well, let's try, how can I say this? Because don't feel like in order to serve that you have to sacrifice. And I want to explain that, right? Because if you know that you need to make more, right? Because the reality is that things are getting more expensive, don't think that. And I'll say this: what one company won't do, another one will happily do, right? So I don't want you to feel like that in order to make the impact that you desire to make, that means that there's a certain pay range that you have to stay in, right? And sometimes in order to even show up the way that we want to at work, sometimes that does require us to be paid more, right? Because when you know that, wait a minute, I'm great at my job, but my job doesn't serve me in the capacity that it should, right? That will affect the way that you show up, and it will affect the way that you serve, because people always want to say that money isn't everything. And I agree that it's not, but it does play a big part, right? Because there is nothing like you serving in your career and your career does not serve you back. You start to feel like, you almost become bitter about your purpose or about your passion. And that's just because those expectations are not being met. And sometimes we feel like we are wanting to ask for too much, but the reality is that you're not asking for enough, right? So, yes, ma'am. Worry, points left out. I mean, worry out, points left behind. I'm not sure what that means. You guys let me know what other questions that you have. Again, I do live stream on Tuesdays at 7:15 Central Standard Time. Again, if we are not connected on LinkedIn, go ahead and please connect with me. Also, send me a DM about any aha moments that you guys had about this live stream. I'm always enjoying sharing value with you guys. If there's any particular topics that you want to learn more about, let me know. And if not, I will go ahead and sign off. Remember, guys, that the replay is going to be saved on my YouTube channel, and that is I am Alicia Perkins. So if you want to catch the full replay, you can go on there. It'll be uploaded soon. So I'm sorry, Miss Tracy. So yeah, so I enjoyed speaking with you guys this morning, and I will see you guys around, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. I think it's so amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.